I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explore the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is a CEO, bodybuilder, and of course an author too, none other than Mr. John Brink. Welcome, Mr. John on Abstract Essay, and can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure. Nice to be here, Daniel. Again, we've been together once before, I believe. So I was born in 1940. I will be 85 years old in the next 30 days. I call it 85 years young. I'm an author, obviously, as you already know. You indicated as I'm a CEO of the Brink group of companies, about 10 different companies in northern British Columbia and throughout British Columbia. And then I'm also, as you indicated, a bodybuilder. I'm the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America, and qualified for the nationals in Canada and for the Arnolds in 1918. I'm again competing bodybuilding, and will hopefully go back to the Arnolds again in 2026 when I'm 86. And
Well,
other things that are important to me is that I'm a presenter. I'm very active on podcasting, and obviously I love it. So I think we have close to 1 million subscribers, and have been podcasting for the last 4 or 5 years.
Mr. John Brink, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. $1 billion, which is one we're gonna talk about today. Tell us, the title sets a high bar. What is a fundamentally separates good communication skills from $1 billion communication skill? Is it a difference in kind or simply in degree of application?
So the whole idea between the title is that draws attention to the book, obviously, and saying it's not a book about how to become a billionaire, although you could, and you will not become a billionaire unless you had communication skills, which is the most important in life of all segments, in relationships and friendships, building careers, being an entrepreneur, interacting, building companies, and finding jobs, and throughout life. It's not enough being studied, and not enough being trained. And it's always been something to me that has been critically important. In the latter part of life, I developed my communication skills. I'm a natural storyteller. And so it changed my life. And then I felt not only that I communicate in terms of being an author, but also in terms of the importance of communication skills. And that's my last book that I did. It came out on July 31st. It's already a bestseller on Amazon. $1 billion communication skills. And the billionaires that I feature, Lucas is, or Daniel, is that all of those billionaires, the reason, if you ask them as to how did they get to become a billionaire, there is no question and no exception that it is communication skills that brought them to where they are. Either they had some already or developed them over time. The latter is usually the case. You must be good at communication skills in all the things that you do, in particular relationships, friendships, and all the other things that I mentioned already.
Indeed, communication is the key to success, people. You frame words as a tool for building empires. How does one shift their mindset to truly see language not a cost of doing business, but as a primary capital for growth and influence.
Exactly. So very, very, very important, and obviously that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been focusing on.
Mr. John, how do you actually measure the return on investment or ROI of improving communication? Can you share an example of a specific communication upgrade that led to a measurable financial outcome?
So let me give you a couple of examples where it didn't, and it's in the book actually, where I had an idea for developing, in my particular case, lumber manufacturing in a different way. And I already built companies. I made a presentation to the government of our province, and there were about 12 different individuals. I had done in writing, I sent it them, and then they asked me to articulate my presentation. There were about 12 individuals, senior bureaucrats, and probably three or four ministers of economic development, of forest, and on and on and on. And when I sat in front of them in this major boardroom in the government building in Victoria, British Columbia, and I was introduced as John Brink, CEO of Brink Forest Products, and the presenter of the document that laid in front of the people is saying, and let me introduce John here. This is who he is. John, the floor is yours. I could not say a word, not even a word. I froze, intimidated. And so they try to make it easier for me to. I put together a very, very good document, and they said, okay, how about this? How about I couldn't say a word. And so then finally they said, okay, well, thank you very much for being here and presenting us your document. And I walked out and I had shame, absolute total shame, and so then I knew I had to work on my communication skills. Obviously I did. The structure that I followed is Toastmasters, and everybody that is watching us, Google it, and that focuses on communication skills. I was in Toastmasters for 10 years. It changed my life. I became a very effective communicator. And now to your question, give us an example of where communication skills brought you to where you are. Is from that point forward I became a writer, and obviously I'm working on my sixth book, and I grew my companies several times in different areas. We have four silos in our companies: lumber manufacturing, warehousing, real estate, and then also media. All of them that I developed, the reason that I developed it and the reason that it grew to where it is because of my communication skills, negotiating deals.
Mr. John, what is the most common fatal flaw in business pitches that your book helps to eliminate? What is the single most important element to include to captivate investor or a client?
Make sure you understand who they are first and foremost. Secondly, what are they looking for? Sell them a product that they want and need, not what you want them to have. Understand them, tell them, explain to them where dealing with you and your organization will benefit them. Show them that you are reliable, that you have an history of dependability and a can do history. And the future lies in the history that you have developed.
How can a specific framing and language patterns create leverage in negotiation, Mr. John, making other party feel they are getting a win while secure a key objectives?
So the key is to, as I said earlier, to understand them and to be able to articulate that you, as the provider of services or products, that you understand the market, the economic future of the environment in which they operate and you are operating, and what you can bring to your clients that is uniquely different from others. And so that then have the ability to show your client that you have a history of can do and a history of dependability. Like in our case, next Wednesday, it is October the 1st, 2025. It is for my company the 50th year that I've been in business of dependable, reliable producing products, and growth has always been extremely important to us.
Mr. John, when company faces a crisis, what is the communication framework that can protect or even enhance a $1 billion valuation?
So obviously, very good topic, Daniel, because of all the things that we know, and in particular, I believe you are in the United States, then you are very familiar with. And I'm not going into politics; that is up to you guys. But you know that what is clear to me as somebody standing on the outside, tariffs have been difficult, duties have been difficult, and under the current circumstances, the global economy has been adversely affected mainly because of US policies. And that makes things difficult for companies. Companies have to change their business models. The key is always in business predictability of looking forward. If you want to attract capital, the same in the United States, same in Canada, same in the rest of the world. If you want to attract entrepreneurship, there has to be a potential of making money. That means dependability. Entrepreneurs will identify opportunities. They will convince capital to invest. But if there is lack of certainty, then they will not do that. That's where we are today, and in particular because of the U.S. And that means that we are slowly moving into what I call the big R word, recession. And if we go there, capital is reluctant, to say the least. Banks tighten up and companies go down. This is not a good period at now, but still, there is a good future. Smart money will start looking at opportunity, including ourselves, and saying, changing circumstances. Where do we go from here? What will it look like?
Mr. John, on leadership and internal communication, how can leaders' communication intentionally shape company culture to drive productivity, innovation, and loyalty, directly impacting the bottom line?
So, very important question, Daniel, and not well understood in a lot of cases. I knew numerous of examples where uh, lousy leadership, and I say that respectfully, that is not fully understanding the importance. You can't do it alone. And so that if you have companies, you have to build a team, and you have to be, as a leader, you have to be dependable in terms of the make it a clear developing structures where people will work together. And it's still something that is not well understood, the even not by organization like Harvard and all the other kind of things, that as things are changing around the world and circumstances are changing around the world, you have to be, more than anything, how do you see the future? And that is probably the most important part, I believe. It's one of my strongest point, is looking forward 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Even at 85 years old, I still look at that. We still make decisions today that go in that direction. I'm the sole owner of all my companies, but I build teams around me, and we stay predictable. And at the same time, we have a system where we bring people on board. And then, only then, can you, in particular, deal with things when things are challenging as they are today. Then it becomes even more important. But a lot of companies do not have that.
Mr. Gunn, how do you translate a complex $1 billion vision into a simple, compelling narrative that every employee from the C suite to the front line can understand and rally behind?
Well, billion-dollar communication skills. The reason that I wrote it and is myself showing all the way from where I wasn't, and I was born in Holland, and English is not my first language, obviously, and then and a number of other things. And I'm not a natural writer, but I'm a storyteller, and understanding issues and topics, and having gone through being in business now for 60 years, I have lived through building companies, rebuilding companies, and always focused on what works, what doesn't work, understanding things, listening to people that have been successful, understand why and how, and then being likely very effective on being somebody that wants to understand, in our case, manufacturing, or on the street, understanding what businesses look like, what they how they work, and then becoming a very, very good communicator yourself. And that has been, it takes time to do that, and listen to others. That's why podcasting is so important. If And that's likely why so many people listen to it, is they hear people like you, myself, and others, that became very, very good communicators and became very, very successful. And there is no magic about it. Is that the critical part is understanding yourself, understanding the issues, and being able to articulate it. Become a good listener is the first and most important. Standing on your feet and articulating issues is very important. The other one is very listen closely to arguments that flow your way, and then become a good presenter. And a lot of that can be learned through organizations like Toastmasters, or listening to other good presenters as to what are the elements that make them effective.
Truly, truly effective people will be successful for sure. And what does $1 billion feedback look like, Mr. John? How can a leader deliver a critical feedback in a way that motivates high performance instead of creating defensiveness?
So the first thing, that the objective of billion-dollar communication skills is the articulating the reason that communications is so critically important, to see the examples of it, what worked, for me to show in my life going through periods where I it was a issue and a problem for me, self-confidence, language, and all those other kind of things. But it took me time to develop it. And once I did develop it, in particular, self confidence, not ego, but self confidence in terms of being able to articulate issues, feeling confident about who am I, took me a long time. And I talk about that in the book. And once you do, and once you open up and are willing to ask questions or raise issues in terms of dialogue, it is amazing what it will do for individuals. If you see people that are successful, ask them as to what happened, what did they do, how did they do it. And it is amazing how willing a lot of the people are to interact. And so the other part with me, I'm a believer in attitude. I avoid negative. Passion, whatever I do, I give it 125%. Work ethic, I work harder than anybody. Even at 85, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, always make my bed. I always think I'm late. And as soon as I walk outside, I look outside, I said, I'm in paradise. In North America or in Canada and in the United States, we are in paradise compared to the rest of the world.
We are in paradise for sure. And Mr. John, many brilliant founders and technical experts struggle to communicate their ideas broadly. What is the first step in shifting from jargon filled explanation to influential communication?
I believe understanding the issues is important and having confidence in terms of what you know and what you say. Feel free to say, I don't know that. I don't understand it. Be willing to listen. And then the other part, obviously, read the books, either my books or other books that speak about issues that brought people to where they are. The other part is that for me has always been a question. I've always found ways. I want to listen to people that in my mind have been successful and say, what did they do? How did it work? And that applies to all the things we do, Daniel, in terms of relationships, very, very important. And then building businesses, and especially when there are crises, as there are now, communication becomes that much more important. But be a listener and find other people that can help in dealing with challenging circumstances. But where it starts is with respect for others and being willing to ask questions, as saying, what do you suggest I could do or we could do as a company, or where do we go from here? Be willing to ask the questions. And and even in circumstances where there are challenges, as there are now, there are opportunities. And then say people say to me, how do I become successful? Is saying success will find you. You have to be ready for it.
Yes, be ready for success and work so hard for it. And Mr. John, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season. I'm a baby podcast. Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. John, if you could have every reader of your book follow just one rule or principle from day one, what would it be and why?
Learn from it, appreciate who you are, where you are, and at the end of the day, live a life that is full of good food, good diet, get exercise. Quality of life is the most important. Respect others, give back to your community, and then have fun.
Have fun for sure, because laughter is the best medicine. So, Mr. John Brink, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support Billion Dollar as well as your other books?
Thanks, Danny.
So, where do people can buy your books, Mr. John?
On all the major medias, it is both audio as well as Amazon, obviously not the other anywhere.
Anywhere for sure where books are sold. And yes, people, let's support Mr. John Brink because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. John, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. Take care.
Moticon people, see you soon.